Hi, Cindy.
Hi.
Thanks for being here.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, you ready for a breakthrough session?
I am.
Where are you trying to have a breakthrough?
I don't see myself sometimes qualified to being a good leader to my team. And I feel like that doesn't do them any justice when I try to lead them, because I feel like I'm not, sometimes it's a confidence thing. And I feel like I'm going to fail them if I don't feel like I'm qualified enough to be their mentor, to be there to guide them.
Okay, give me a little bit of background, just so I know and anyone who's listening knows. What is your role and what kind of leading are you doing?
I run warehouse operations. I have a team of young girls. They're mainly in college and they're just getting their life started. They're getting their career started. I'm here to help them, whether they're going to work with me for the next 10 years or if they're going to go off somewhere else to work. I want to help them. I want this to be their stepping stone. And I feel like it's such a big stepping stone that I can really help them for their career and advance what they want to do. And sometimes I feel like I'm not qualified to do that. And that scares me.
I can almost hear the weight, and the way you shift in your expressions is it's really, really important.
It is
your role in their life, you feel like you have them at this very crucial time to be able to be such an impact.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I remember when I was at that point, when I was working I grew up where I am now at Common Thread, and my leader, she kind of shifted me to where I am now. And I didn't think, 15 years ago, I would be where I am now. And I switched my major because I love my job so much. And I feel like some of these girls, they could be shifting their majors. Some of the girls don't even know what they want to do. And I feel like this is such a crucial point where I feel I want to have the confidence to lead them.
That's really special. So your leader was so impactful and inspirational in your life that it changed your whole trajectory.
Absolutely.
So we definitely know why you have this meaning and this motivation around this.
Yeah.
So, and how many years ago was that?
16 years ago.
Same leader?
Yep.
How is she? On a scale of 1 to 10, what's her leadership like?
She's an 11.
An 11.
She's always working at it. She's always working on how to lead her team in different ways. And I feel like a lot of it's such out of the box ways where it's not somewhere where you could just learn from anybody. Yeah.
15 years ago, what was her leadership like? Scale of 1 to 10?
Probably a 5.
5?
Yeah.
But she was
growing together.
Still that impactful for you.
Yes.
Did she know how to be a leader in every way?
We were all learning together at that
point.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that's important for you to recognize, first of all, right? That she didn't have to be an 11 back then to impact you so drastically that you changed your course.
Yeah, that's very true. I think we're all just learning together too.
Yeah.
At every stage.
Take me though to the girls that you're leading. What do you feel like your ultimate role is when you take this responsibility to lead them? What are you trying to accomplish with that?
I think I'm trying to just help them grow and be a better person.
Okay.
Guide them through their daily task, and within those daily tasks, finding something that is more meaningful that will help them outside of work.
Okay. So guide them through their tasks, find some meaning. What was the first thing you said?
And then helping them through their dailies.
Okay, helping them, guiding them. Okay. So what qualifications do you need to be able to be the person who helps them and guides them and helps them find meaning?
I think just being a good person, being there for them.
Oh, that was your first thing. You said you want being a good person.
Being there for them, answering their questions, and not necessarily doing it for them. Guiding them to do it on their own.
Okay. So do you feel like you have the capabilities? Well, you just said you need to.
I do. I feel like I do. Sometimes I do. And I think every person is just so different. Guiding each person is so different. And I think that's my biggest struggle, is finding a way to talk to each person at their own level. That's where I struggle so much. There are some girls that are so much easier to talk to, and there are others that aren't. They don't open up as much. They don't know what they want to do. They don't know what they want to do. So it's hard for me to help them when they don't know what their trajectory is going to be.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you hear what you just said there? Curious if you picked that up. They don't know, but you're still taking on this responsibility for them knowing. So I wonder how you're measuring your results as a successful leader.
I think that's where I put myself down, is that's where my doubt is, when I don't know how to help them because they don't know what they want.
Yeah. That's still part of their growth and development. And I hear you taking on all the responsibility for them knowing, for, whatever they're kind of creating for themselves, you're taking on that responsibility and saying, okay, I am a good leader if she figures out what she wants to do, she figures out what she wants to do, she's a good person, she gets through her tasks with meaning. Like, you're measuring your leadership by their actual result.
And I shouldn't.
That's a lot to put on yourself to control. I mean, you would actually have to be, I don't want to say a bad leader, not a bad leader, but you wouldn't really be leading if you simply just made sure that the result that you wanted from them, that you interjected and got. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Yeah. That's so hard because I feel like I just want to help everybody.
Sure.
And it's so hard when I can't help everybody because some people just aren't open as others.
Right.
Like, I want to be there. I want to help them grow. I want to help lead them. So, yeah.
But how do you take that when you find that resistance, somebody maybe isn't interested in growing or exploring or learning all that right now? How do you take that?
I kind of just take a step back.
Okay.
And I don't want to say I shut down as a leader. I just step away and I focus on others. And sometimes I feel like I'm ignoring that one person or whoever it is. So I'm not there for them as much because I don't know how to approach certain situations.
So that resistance, it's almost like has you going, okay, forget it. I'll work over here where I know what to do and I know how to help.
Exactly.
Because that feeling of not knowing how to help makes you feel like what?
Incapable.
Uncomfortable?
Just a little, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, like I don't know how to approach certain things.
Yeah.
I just feel like that's where I feel like I fail as a leader, but I shouldn't feel that way because they're not giving me much. So it's hard for me to put in as much as I can or would want to put in.
Well, is what you put in, is that dependent upon what they put in?
No, it shouldn't be.
Because if we look at redefining like the measurement of your leadership, how can you measure in a different way? Instead of their results, how can you measure and how do you know you're being the best leader that you can be?
I feel like I should always put in as much as I can, and sometimes I should know to not expect to get anything back. But at the same time, I know that I'm putting in as much as I can to help that person, to guide that person.
Yeah. I think you need your own kind of grading rubric or a way to evaluate, like, okay, I'm a good leader if I'm putting in this time, if I'm asking great questions, if I'm letting them solve their problems. Like, you've got these measurements that's what you can do, but you can't make them do what they need to do. That's not a sign of your leadership. Yeah, that's a sign more of a manager. Like, I want you to do this. You have to do this. You're required. Then you're really just managing. You're not leading.
Yeah. Sometimes I feel like it's hard to be both.
Yeah.
I feel like I have a good handle on being a manager. It's just being a leader it doesn't come natural to me.
Yeah. I wonder what the people you lead would say about that.
I don't know.
Have you ever asked?
No. How do you even approach that? How would you even ask?
Well, you could either have a sit-down conversation with them and really ask them, like, how can I support you? What makes you feel led here? What kind of feedback do you have for me as a leader? Is there any area that you would like more or less support in? Just any questions that you're curious about. Like, in the beginning of this conversation, you have doubt, right? You're a little unsure. And anytime we start having doubt or, we're unsure about something, it tells us that we don't have the answer, right? I don't know whether I'm a good leader. Okay, well, let's find out. Ask the people around you, ask the people that you're leading, ask, your other, employees that are on the same executive level as you. Get some feedback on that. Leaders do that all the time. Just because you're a leader doesn't mean that you're supposed to know everything and not be able to get feedback from your team.
Yeah.
So I think that's really important. But I'm curious, going back to something you said earlier, is like, sometimes I don't know how to help them. And then that almost becomes an avoidance thing because you're avoiding, I don't want to feel bad about my capabilities. So therefore I won't even go knock on that door because this feels a lot better over here.
Yeah.
But where in your life have you had a challenge before that you didn't know how to handle it, but yet you continued to try different things until you persevered?
I think when I had my own business.
Okay.
I had my own business for a little while, for just over 2 years, and I felt like there was always different ways where I could have improved, and I just kept knocking on the door. I kept going, and I didn't give up.
And any time during that, did it feel uncomfortable? Were you a little like, this feels like I don't know what I'm doing?
Always.
Yeah. What made you go, who cares? I'm going to keep doing it anyways?
Because I cared so much about it. And I do care about my team so much that, you're right, I shouldn't just avoid certain situations.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of going, what are we choosing between? We always have choices. And in your situation, it's like, okay, well, if I continue to lead, even though I don't feel like I'm getting the results and the traction, if I continue to lead, then I'm choosing to care about them so much over avoiding, which is like avoiding an uncomfortable situation for me. So do you choose comfort and safety, you know what I mean, over here and turning away? Or do you choose to be a little uncomfortable, but know that you're giving to the people that you care so much about?
Giving. I want to give, and I have to step over that being uncomfortable and getting past that stage. And that goes to like me being scared I'd fail them.
It's how you get better. Going back to like what you said earlier about your leader, and you said we're all growing together. I mean, your leader, I'm sure, has gotten it wrong at some point in time, has felt like she's bumped into walls. I know because I'm privy to this information. But, like I've had similar conversations with her where it's like, how do I get people to? And it's like, you don't get to get people to do anything. All you can do is continue to give. Yeah. And if it doesn't work, pivot and try again. But a big help in that is asking the questions.
Asking the right questions.
Yeah.
And that's where I also struggle, is what questions to ask. Like what questions are appropriate to ask and how to word those questions.
Kind of get into that over-analyzing. Yeah. Let's kind of play that out a little bit. What is one question you're super curious about somebody who you don't seem to be moving the needle with?
One question, let's see. Really what she wants to do like within the company in the next like 3, 6, 10 months.
Okay. That's even maybe a big question.
Yeah. It's like hard to like just outright ask that question. Like, where do you see yourself in the company? And I think her answer is always like, oh, I see myself still here, but like, how do you want to grow with the company? And I think that's where I struggle a little bit, is asking like, how do you want to grow? Even though I know like she's going to school for something completely different. So I feel like her role and my role with her, it's just kind of like at a stand, like there's no going up. Whereas like my other girls, I'm honing in on the capabilities, and I'm able to help them build into their skills. Whereas some, it's hard.
Yeah. It's not all, you have 2 kids. Are they the same?
Yeah, they're not at all. wildly different.
Yes. And so your employees are going to be that way too. But again, just asking, I think you have to let go of like, what's the right way to ask? What's the right question to ask? What's the appropriate way? A great leader is willing to have these conversations of going, hey, you know, I've really been thinking about you and the company. And I'm just curious, like, do you want to grow within the company? She says, yeah. What do you think that looks like? What would you like to be doing differently? Or she might say, yeah, how can I support you with that? Or she might say, I don't know, I have no idea. Okay, well, let's talk about it. What do you love to do here? What fills you up? What frustrates you?
Yeah.
You know, if you let go of what you're holding on to prove that you're a good leader, that's your agenda. Like, how do I get her to this destination so that it says, I'm a great leader because I got her where she needed to go. If you let go of that agenda, then you can really just go, gosh, let's have a conversation. Let's just ask some questions and see what comes out of it.
It's those conversations.
It is.
Yeah.
How do you feel about those?
Those are the uncomfortable, but I'm getting better at them. I'm getting from where I started 6 months ago to where I am now. I feel like I am getting a lot better at them.
You being here is uncomfortable. And so I've seen you continually kind of pushing yourself outside of your comfort zone and growing in that way.
Yeah.
Did you always want to grow?
No, I don't feel like I really had that drive until I would say like a year and a half ago, maybe.
Okay.
Yeah. Until I really saw the potential of it all.
Okay. So do you think your leader measured her ability to lead on whether or not you wanted to grow and what you wanted to do?
Probably not. No.
What'd she do?
She just always tried. She tried. She didn't stop. She didn't stop learning. She didn't stop investing in all of us.
Yeah. The great thing about having a great leader is that you have a role model and you have someone to aspire to lead like. And you get to look at exactly what your leader did for you and go, gosh, I can do those exact same things. I can keep trying. I can keep investing in myself. I can keep investing in my team and keep asking questions. And that's what worked for me.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, whether it's a year from now, whether it's years later, who knows? But everyone's on their own pace and their own trajectory.
Yeah. So hard for me to grasp that sometimes because I feel like everybody should be moving up. But then I have to be okay with some people being at a different pace than others.
Yeah. And you didn't have that itch to just move up, right? Before.
Yeah.
And it's kind of this phenomenon that happens when you start growing and you start seeing the possibilities and you start experiencing it. It's like, I want everyone to do that.
I know. I'm just like, it's going so well for me. I want everybody to do the same thing. But everybody, you're right. Everybody's so different. Like my 2 kids are so different. Everybody that works for me is so different. Everybody that I work with are so different.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's like, you know how good it feels for you.
Yeah.
And you want everyone to have that feeling.
Yeah, I do.
And that is on everybody's own time and agenda.
Yeah, very true.
Just keep trying. When you agreed to come here and do this, what was like your main intention? What did you want to walk away from? Or what did you want to walk away with from this session?
I wanted to feel like I wasn't failing my team. I wanted to feel like I wasn't failing an individual person.
So how are we doing on that?
I feel a lot better about a lot of things because I now realize that everybody does move at their own pace and I can't force things on people that aren't necessarily willing, but yet I'm not gonna give up. I'm gonna keep trying whether they soak it in or not.
How can you really sit every single day with knowing that you've done what you need to do and that you are not failing your people?
I think if I go in every day knowing that I gave them my best, I won't feel like I'm failing myself or them or anybody around me. Because I know I gave them as much as I could that day.
Sounds like a recipe for good leadership and confidence within yourself.
Yep.
Do you have the breakthrough you're looking for?
I do.
Yeah.
I do.
So what's it look like going forward now?
I'm going to give them everything that I have, and whether they want to take it in, but I know that I'm giving them what I can.
Good work today.
Thank you.
You are a great leader, and if you take away what you learned today and you start implementing that into your daily leadership, you're going to see your people change.
I hope so.
Good.